So I've had a lot of requests lately to do reviews with Taurus products, and just recently I acquiesced and did the Taurus G2S, and that was a nice gun. I was impressed with it, and we will see that one back again. But I've had a lot of requests also for the PT709. Everybody wants to see that single stack, and I get it. I absolutely get it. It's a great alternative carry gun. But I thought maybe since the G2S has now replaced the 709 and is just brand new, why don't we look at that one instead? So here it is, folks, the Taurus G2S, the single stack, 9mm. And again, this one does replace the PT709. Very first shots, this is the first 100. Let's get going with it. And before I take this first shot, let me thank my patrons who make this possible. I like the way it feels. That was the first magazine, first 7 rounds. Comes with 2 7-round magazines. I like the way that felt. But because it comes with 2 7-round magazines, I'm going to be doing a whole lot of reloading of magazines today. All right, let's test the slide stop and see if it's a proper slide release. Why, yes it is. There are some much bigger names in the business that could take a lesson from that. I'm shooting a Remington, by the way, Remington UFC. That upper middle class ammo, 115 grain ball. And I'm 7 yards away from that target. For those of you jotting down notes, or more likely preparing your critical comment, it's like, man, you should be able to shoot that at 50 yards. Very nice. Very nice. I'm starting to get a feel a little bit for this trigger as I shoot. So I will talk to you more about that as we go. But now, I got 2 empty magazines and I gotta load them back up. The G2S, just like the G2C, has that restrike capability, or sort of double action-y kind of striker trigger. However, it really is a single action only striker fired gun with a restrike capability, if that makes sense. So that's a nice benefit to have if you ever need that. All right, let me try to pick up the pace a little bit. Get a feel for the trigger, the sights, recoil. I like this gun. It's not the best trigger in the world, but it is not the worst trigger in the world either. Yeah, you know, doing accuracy tests, you know, a lot of people, I get a lot of comments about the accuracy and whether I'm shooting it at the right distance or the right target or this, that, and the other thing. Accuracy comes down more to the shooter than it does to the gun. With anything I'm doing here. I mean, I'm 7 yards away from that target. I can't even imagine a gun made today that isn't going to be precisely accurate at that distance. So it comes down to how well can I shoot the gun, because I'm the weakest link. How easily does this gun allow me to do my best work? Good trigger control, maintain a good sight picture, manage the recoil, get back on target, all those things, those are ergonomic, really, more than mechanical. So I'm just looking at this target, and you know, even with a relatively faster pace, I'm very, very happy with where those shots are being placed on that target. So this gun allows me, I think, so far, to shoot well. And that means a really nice gun. All right, so let's keep at it with this Taurus G2S. So far, it's an impressive little single stack 9mm, and I'm thinking I would carry this gun. So far, it's given me no reason not to think it's a great carry gun. By the way, Ryan Machad of Handgun Radio on the Firearms Radio Network just reached out to me recently and asked me if I would sit in on the show with him this week, which is going to be recorded tomorrow. So I know one of the things he wants to talk about is this G2S, because I mentioned it. So I'm trying to think of something clever to say. By the time you see this, that show will have been recorded and aired, and so you can be sitting there shaking your head going, yeah, nice try. If you don't listen to Handgun Radio, you should. I love it. I listen every week. I really do like the way this gun shoots. I like the way I shoot this gun. Probably the proper thing to say. Try a little one hand. See if I can shoot it with one hand and put them anywhere near where they should be. Not too bad. A little higher, but not too bad. Okay guys, this is wrapping up the first 100 with this very impressive G2S from Taurus. I really like this little gun. I like the way it makes me shoot, which is very good, better than a lot of other guns in this size. I definitely smell some head-to-heads coming, and compare this to some of the ones that are cost twice as much and maybe only shoot half as well. I don't know. We'll see how it shakes out, but I'm going to wrap things up with 7 rounds of Sig Sauer V-Crown, 124 grain, jacketed hollow point. This is carry ammo. This is my carry ammo, and if you're evaluating a carry gun, you got to look at carry ammo. Sometimes certain guns, everything else will work great, except they'll have trouble feeding your favorite carry ammo, so I want to make sure. All right, there we go. And that's not a bad group either. So, Reliably feeds and shoots and ejects and extracts everything that I've given it today, which has mostly just been Remington UMC, range ammo, and some Sig Sauer defense ammo. But very impressive little gun. When I get back to the bench, where it's quieter, cooler, and less likely to rain, I'll talk to you a little bit more. So after 100 rounds, just over 100 rounds through this gun, 100 rounds of Remington UMC, 115 grain ball, and about 7 rounds of Sig Sauer Elite Performance V-Crown, 124 grain to be exact, I am very impressed with this little gun. The Taurus G2S, which is the replacement for the PT709. In fact, you can't even find the G2S on Taurus's website, so the gun is a little newer than the technology behind it, I guess. But I'm very impressed with this little gun. It shot really well. In fact, I shot this gun better than I shoot a lot of other guns that are similar to it. And my rule of thumb is if it makes me shoot good, that's a good gun. In fact, the gun is so new, and the fact that it's not on their website, there's no specifications anywhere for it, so I don't have any of the dimensions or the weight or any of that, and I can manually measure all that for you, but I'm going to continue to look and see if I can find that, and if I can, I'll throw it here on the screen. If not, we'll just have to wait for a head-to-head comparison. And I think that head-to-head comparison is going to come sooner rather than later, because this gun really does need to be compared to some others that cost at least twice as much. Because I'm not sure that this gun isn't as good as ones that cost twice as much. I shot the gun well. I never had any kind of problems with it. No failures to feed, eject, fire, any of that. And of course, again, that's 100 rounds, but a lot of times that first 100 is that break-in period. And a lot of guns are going to have problems. If they're going to have problems at all, they're usually going to have them right out of the box. The trigger on this gun is very good. It's actually better than the G2C that I recently reviewed. This gun, the trigger measures about 5.5 pounds pretty consistently. It's fairly crisp, with a nice reset. Takes single stack magazines, of course. We looked at that at the range. Only holds 7 rounds apiece, but that is the nature of the single stack 9mm concealed carry pistol. This gun is small, it is flat, it is a very good shooter. Looks like it's going to be very consistent and reliable, and I can't see any reason why somebody who's in the market for a concealed carry handgun or even a home defense handgun wouldn't really give this a hard look. For those of you who like a manual safety, of course, it does have a safety. Safety functions very nicely. It goes on a little easier maybe than I would like. You know, we're always worried about it accidentally being engaged, but comes off very easily, and safe gives you a locked trigger. Not a dead trigger, a locked. Also, you cannot run the slide when you have the safety engaged. There's nothing ambidextrous on this pistol. It is a right-hander's only. Maybe you could swap the mag release button. I'm not sure. I didn't research that. Takedown is pretty simple, easy, and straightforward, and should be very familiar if you've ever seen a Glock. It's got that same type of slide lock that's in the barrel lug area. So we simply take the pressure off of that by pulling the slide back a little bit, bring those 2 tabs down, and you have to have pulled the trigger. So let's make sure we do that. And then the slide comes forward. It's not super smooth to get it forward, but pretty simple. And there's nothing inside that is anything special. Here's where you start to notice the difference in an inexpensive gun versus the more expensive brands, is that when you're putting the slide back on, there's a lot of wiggle and wobble, and you've got to get things lined up or else it'll get off track. And if it gets off track, doesn't want to go back on real easy. Okay, so after just the first 100 with the G2S, I am impressed. I'm actually looking forward to getting it back out again. I like the grip. It's got that same texture and same pattern as the G2C. I gave you my thoughts on that. It's good. It's actually very good. In this case, I think maybe because there's less surface area, I didn't find it quite as abrasive to my fingers on the front strap. So I could shoot this gun a whole lot just the way it is. I think it's a very, very nice grip out of the box. It's more aggressive than some, and it does grab your skin really well. But I'm probably going to put a Talon on it, a rubber Talon, just to see how we like it with that also. I definitely recommend this little gun, and you're going to see it again.